Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Stacey West preview show. As always, I am your host, Jake. This week, we've got a mouth-watering tie as we go to an in-form Ipswich Town at Portman Road. Before we do get into the chat with Rich from the Talking Town podcast, just please make sure that you do like, comment and subscribe on this channel. We have just recently hit 650 and we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So if you could like, comment and subscribe to the Stacey West YouTube channel, it would be massively appreciated as we are putting a lot of effort into the content nowadays. Also, before we move on to the interview with Rich, just an overview of the game against Charlton. Less said about this, the better, really. A game that was really low in quality. I think the only talking point, really, from a point of view, is the referee. Wasn't great for both sides. I think Charlton probably feel that they maybe should have scored when the referee had to go off injured. But apart from that, two teams that were really lacking in the final third and couldn't muster anything up. I think a lot of Lincoln fans would have taken a point at the start of the game, but still, you want to be winning your home games. So disappointing not to add another 2 points to our tally, but we can put that right as we make the long trip down to Suffolk this weekend. So like I say then, back down to Portman Road again. It feels like we're playing there a lot over the last sort of 5-6 years with the cups and stuff like that. So we've got some really good insight from the Cruncher, as he's known, on the Talking Town podcast. And here is what he had to say. Well, VT. Right, we're joined by Rich, aka the Cruncher. Rich, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you again. Just for the people who won't know, we did record this on Tuesday. However, it was accidentally deleted on the StreamYard. So we're seeing quite a bit of each other this week, which I'm sure no complaints on this side. I'm hoping there aren't any from that side.
And we'll see you again on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Let's talk Town then. Obviously, a blistering start to the season. Currently second place, only Plymouth have gone better than you, only by a singular point. How do you assess the first 12 games that you've played so far?
Yeah, excellent. I think it's 13. I think, Jake, I think you'll find
13.
On 13. Yeah, listen, I think it's probably, you couldn't really expect a much better start, sitting second in the table with one defeat. That was obviously away at Plymouth, where, look, we probably shouldn't have lost that game. It should have probably been a draw, but look, I think they're a good side, and I think they'll be up there all season, mate. But yeah, it's gone well. Kieran's come in. Obviously, last season we had Paul Cook to start with, and then he went just before Christmas. Kieran McKenna's come in. I think we've lost 6 games in 38, and now he's getting linked with I see West Brom, possibly Middlesbrough job. I don't think he'll go anywhere, but at the minute it's all going good. Another home game Saturday against you boys, and another big crowd. I think they sold 28,000. So it'll be rocking on Saturday, and fingers crossed for us, it'll be another 3 points in the bag.
The good form was really sort of carried on from the back end of last year, because I remember you guys towards the back end of last year. I think it was you and Bolton, perhaps, were probably the two most unplayable teams. I know, especially you guys. Since McKenna came in and sort of changed everything, you went from that 4-2-3-1 that Paul Cook likes to play into this 3-5-2 sort of formation, whatever combination you want to call it, that McKenna's brought in. Just what about his summer recruits? Have they been able to quickly adapt? Because obviously the summer before, you had a lot of change, 19 new faces, 20 new faces in the building, similar to what Forest have done this year. What about his new recruits? Have they been able to just slot in straight away?
Yeah, if you go back to when Paul Cook was there, he cleared out a lot of the deadwood. And you have to look at the team now, Jake, a lot of them players that Cook signed have obviously, like your Lee Evans, your Morses, your Chaplins, your Waltons, they were all with Paul Cook at previous clubs. So they probably came on the back of Paul Cook being manager, right? And when you look now, and you look at Forest, when you have that massive turnover of players, is it really going to come together just like that? Probably not. It's probably going to take a season, to bed in. Like them players, obviously, they move from places, got to find somewhere to live. A lot of them living in hotels. So this summer, he's come. McKenna signed. I think we signed 7 or 8 players, And look, you got Freddie Ladapo's coming. Bit of a slow start for Freddie. He's sort of found his feet these last few games. Marcus Harness has been an excellent signing. Look, we paid over £1 million for a left back called Leif Davis. He's just today he's been named Player of the Month for Town. So the recruits he's had, they've all been good signings. You've still got Panucci Kamara. We signed from Plymouth, not fit, back on the grass now. So we've got another player there to come in, and we have got a little bit, Jake. I'll be honest. We have got a bit of an embarrassment of riches. We've got a few injuries at the minute, but whereas other clubs, if you had 5 players out, which we've got, it'd hurt you, wouldn't it? If you had 5 players out, it'd hurt Lincoln City. Whereas us, we haven't really missed them. We've been lucky that we've got the quality to come in on the bench, and that's a lot of the games this season. Kieran's tactically, he's got it right, because I think with the move to 5 subs, I think it's benefited a team like us, because if you look at these teams like your Man Cities and probably like Liverpool's, you've got the bigger squads, you've got better players to bring on at like 65, 70 minutes. And in that way, we're lucky, and it's worked so far. So hopefully it continues.
I've picked out some key men for Ipswich. Obviously, the one that you mentioned there, Marcus Harness, had an electric start to life at Portman Road. Did he score in 4 straight games, something like that? Similar sort of.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I didn't mention this in the recording we did on Tuesday, which I should have done, Lee Evans, running things in your midfield. Just tell us a little bit about those 2.
Yeah, look, Harness came in. He signed, I think it was a Friday night, he signed about 11:30. They've done some good things this year, the admin at Town, with like the Twitter feed, because everyone's sort of going to bed, and then they said, just stay up. And then Marcus Harness, look, when he signed, you've only got to look at what he'd done at Portsmouth. I think like for the last 3 seasons, Jake, double figures goals. He's at an age where I think he can improve, and he could probably, if we go up, fingers crossed, he's one of them players you can take with you to the Championship. So when he signed, I thought, excellent sign. I think about 750,000 they signed him for. Slotted in some games. He is a little bit quiet, I'll say, in some games, but then he's always got that in his locker where he can pop up and he can score a goal out of nothing. He didn't start last week. He came on away at Morecambe. I think he'll probably start this Saturday. I'd have thought he'll play we sort of play one up front. Sometimes a 4-3-3, sometimes 4-2-3-1. It's quite fluid how we play. He sort of plays in that. He doesn't play out on the left-hand touchline. He sort of played inside forward. He's a really clever player. I like him. Look, Lee Evans, I think if you took a poll now, he'd probably be up there. I think with Sam Morsey for Player of the Year, he's been excellent, Jake. I think he could get called up for Wales. I think he's probably had his time. He's obviously played for Wales before. If I'm being a little bit sort of selfish, I wouldn't want him to go to the World Cup because we'd miss him massively. I'd say he's been my Player of the Year, and I wasn't a massive Lee Evans fan last season. He came in, another one who Cook signed, and he made him captain straight away because we didn't have Morsey. We signed Morsey at the end of the window, and that probably put a little bit of pressure on him. Didn't play his best football, and then Kieran's come in. He had an injury, and probably we signed Dominic Ball from QPR, and if he was fit at the start of the season, I think he probably would have started with Morsey in the midfield. He wasn't fit. Lee Evans has come in. He's taken his chance, and he's been excellent. He sprays the ball about. He dictates play. He scored 3 goals as well. So it continue.
And you mentioned the game against Morecambe that took place on Saturday. Looked like you were going to be struggling when the score comes through and it's 1-0 to Morecambe. You're thinking it's not going to finish that way though because of the quality that Ipswich have got in abundance. And obviously you turn that around. Is that a good sign then that you're winning games in all different types of ways? You can blow teams out of the water, but you can also go to the smaller clubs, which you probably struggled with since you've been down here, but going and winning a different type of way, that's got to be a good sign.
Yeah, if you look after Plymouth, we've won the last 3 games, and we've won in 3 different ways. We beat Pompey at home, a big team that last season we struggled to beat the team in the top 6. Tick that one off. Then Cambridge come to Portman Road, and for 70 minutes, they were excellent defensively. Not a lot going forward, but they've done their job. and we managed to break them down. Some good subs from Kieran. Then we went to Morecambe last Saturday. Sometimes, Jake, I think them games where you think, look, Morecambe bottom of the league, struggling, they had 8 players out. A lot of fans probably thought, yeah, we'll go there, we'll roll them over. And we were 1-0 down at half time, and we didn't play great. And Kieran said the best thing in the first half was the dressing room. So he's got them in there, and he's probably got into them a little bit. And we've come out the second half, we've flown out the blocks, scored a goal. We hadn't had a penalty for 36 games. Then we got 2 penalties. We missed one, and then Lee Evans obviously got the second goal. And then we I'd say pretty comfortably, we saw out the game. Morecambe did have a goal disallowed, which possibly wasn't offside, but we've had 1 or 2 refereeing decisions go against us. So I think sometimes it does sort of even itself out. But yeah, that was an important victory to show that you're behind at half time, you're away from home, and you've dug in and you've got them 3 points. And listen, come May, if hopefully we are where we want to be at like the top end of the league and we get out of this division, which we all want to do, I don't think anyone will be remembering a game at Morecambe, in October where we didn't play at our best, but we got a 2-1 victory and we got the 3 points. And that's what you got to do, because you're not always going to play well, Jake. It's about when you don't play well, you dig in and you just take them 3 points and then you move on to the next game.
Yeah, I have seen that call back, and I think that Morecambe could feel a little bit hard done by, but obviously that's in the past now. Also, something in the past, we like to look at the last fixture between the 2 clubs, which was back end of last season. I think it was maybe March, February time. We came down to Portman Road, tried to play you at football, and it horrendously backfired. You guys beat us by 2-0. I thought we played some really good stuff. I think Regan Poole, Brooke Norton, Cuffy played really well, but you guys just went up a gear and took it out of our control, didn't you?
I was hoping you weren't going to say like when we played you previously and mention the FA Cup game. So
no, I can't live that far in the past, Rich.
Yeah, but last season we were doing quite well back then. I think back then there were some games there. We did draw quite a lot of games towards the end of the season, and look, the start we made last season, it made it difficult. We were always sort of up against it, but yeah, that night it was a 2-0 victory. I think Jackson scored, possibly offside. I think we spoke about that on Tuesday. Wes Burns, I think he was our star man last season. He scored, and it was a pretty comfortable victory. Fingers crossed for us, it will be the same sort of result on Saturday, mate.
And obviously a familiar name in our dugout for yourselves, Mark Kennedy, who was at Ipswich as a player, also as a coach. Was he always the type of player you expected to go into management, or were you not expecting that sort of thing from him?
When we done this recording on Tuesday, I said to you about he was there under Keane, and then obviously Roy Keane got sacked, and then we lost 7-0 in the FA Cup on the Saturday to Chelsea, and then we played Arsenal in the semi-final of the League Cup, and he was part of the management team that night. He played, but look, it didn't surprise me. He's had a good career. He's been around the block, Millwall, Liverpool, Town. Quite an interesting appointment from your guys when you've gone from obviously, what's his name you had last season? He's gone to Blackpool. Yeah, he was sort of linked a little bit with Town, and I think he's a good manager, Michael Apple, and he's gone to Blackpool, obviously second time there. But I suppose Kennedy, it's a little bit of a punt from you guys, getting somebody in who's probably his first job. But then you could say the same about Town when we appointed Kieran McKennie. He was at United with Solskjaer, Mourinho, and it was a little bit of, you didn't know how he was going to get on. And obviously Kieran's come in and he's taken to it like a duck to water. And hopefully for your sake that Kennedy sort of, I don't know, where are you? 16th in the league at the minute. I was looking.
Yeah, 18th.
I looked after Tuesday that I think I had you about 13th to finish this season. I think probably if you finish mid-table, I think you'll probably be happy with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd take 13th now, to be honest, mate. I'll snap your hand off for it. Obviously, Lincoln and Ipswich have crossed ties quite a lot over the last sort of 5-6 years. You told me not to mention it, but the FA Cup.
We can go.
We've had a few humdingers in the league as well. The one at Central Bank comes to mind. Just what are your thoughts on Lincoln? Obviously, they might be a bit of a historic sort of football club for Ipswich in the terms that when we were at our lowest, Lincoln were able to take advantage.
Yeah, look, we hadn't played you for a long while, and then you were always doing well. You always got decent support. Look, you've got to say that whenever you go to Lincoln. I hadn't been there previous to when you smashed us 5-3. I didn't go to the 1-0 replay. I remember watching that on telly and thinking, this is probably one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was easy towards extra time, wasn't it? And then you nicked the goal on the break, and it was obviously we had McCarthy then. I thought Mick should have gone after that game. It was a real sort of low point in our history. But look, fair play to you, because you beat us, and then was it Brighton you beat Burnley, you played Arsenal. So you've been on an upward curve, haven't you? And you had Danny Cowley, obviously, got you out of this division, got you out of previous divisions, and look, you were unlucky in that playoff final. You know, you could have easily been in the Championship. You know, you had that season, I think it was Brennan Johnson. He won you quite a lot of penalties that year, didn't he? I remember.
One against you boys as well.
And then what was the lad you had from Man City? Was it Morgan Rogers?
Morgan Rogers, yeah.
So there was two outstanding players you had there on loan. You know, that probably massively helped you that season. And now it's probably a little bit more difficult for you, because you're probably looking in that sort of loan market, and when you're in the summer. We are in a fortunate position. I will say that we're in this league. We've been here for 4 years. We haven't got out the playoffs. Now we've got new owners, and we're spending money that a lot of teams, they can't compete with us. But you still have to do the job, Jake, and get out of this league, because nothing's a given. At the minute, we're flying high. It's only October. We've just got to keep rolling them games out. I see today Sky have helped us out again. We're playing Exeter City away now on a Saturday, a midday kickoff. I mean, look, I'd already booked my hotel for the Saturday night. It doesn't bother me. I'm driving. A lot of people have booked trains, to get there. Now they have to change their plans. But it's football. You just have to get on with it. Hopefully next season we'll be back in the Championship. But who knows what's going to happen?
And I'm guessing for a score prediction, you're going to go heavily towards your own team's favour.
Yeah. 4 wins, 2 draws at home so far this season. We probably should have won them two that we drawn. We Bolton first day of the season. They're decent. I think they'll probably be in the playoffs. Barnsley, we had a goal disallowed. When it was 2-1 up, it should have been 3-1. But like I say, we had a bit of luck Saturday with the offside for Morecambe, and you do sort of make your own luck, and it does sort of even itself out, I think, over the season. But Saturday, I think we've got it's nearly a sellout. I think you said you sold 500-600, haven't you? So it's going to be a good atmosphere, and I expect it to be a Town win. I've got to say that. I think at home we'll dominate the ball. If I was you, I wouldn't come and try to play us at football like you did last year, because I think footballing wise, we've beat 99% of the teams in this division. You've just got to come and sit in, make it difficult for us. And you never know if you can nick a goal from a set piece or something. And then the game's totally different. But I'll go for a comfortable, I'll go 2-0 Town.
And plug your podcast, because the work you do.
Talking Town. Fantastic. Talking Town, if anyone's watching, wants to subscribe, head over to YouTube. We do, I think, 5 days in 7. We do shows. We do live match days. Hope you're going to come down. Sort of Saturday will be pre-match at the Sir Ralph Ramsey statue, and post-match. Any Lincoln fans watching want to come along and have a chat? It's always great to get opposition fans involved, mate. You know what it's like. It's good to talk about football, and if anyone wants to subscribe, head over there, hit the subscribe button. We are nominated again for the Football Content Awards. I've just booked my hotel for Manchester in November. So, we've been going about 2.5 years since COVID is when we started, and it's just continued to grow. And I just love talking about football. Obviously you do, mate. And it's just, like I said to you the other night when we chatted off air, didn't we, for about 20 minutes, just talking general about football. And it's what we all love. And we all love on a Saturday, don't we, going to watch our team hopefully doing well. And that's why at the minute it's all going well, and we're winning games, we're playing decent football, and hopefully it'll continue, and hopefully we'll get promoted, and hopefully you'll have a decent season, and then you can just push on the next season.
Absolutely. And thanks for coming on again, Rich. The link to your channel will be in the description below.
Nice.
But thank you for coming on.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
Massive thank you to Rich for coming back on the channel and talking all things Town with myself. Obviously, he sort of alluded to us there that it's going to be a tricky afternoon for Mark Kennedy and his side. I completely agree with him. I think just some of the names that he was able to reel off that might not even be involved, will probably all get into our starting 11. The likes of Caden Jackson, Sonny Aluko. Aluko is going to be out, but still, it shows that they've got a lot of quality and depth. When they're throwing fees around like 750k for Marcus Harness and £1 million for Leif Davis, it just shows you the difference between the top end of League One and where we find ourselves towards the lower end of the budgets of the table. So really tricky afternoon. Please make sure that you go over and check out the Talking Town podcast. The link will be in the description. But I am going to have to agree with Rich and say that we are going to get beat. I'm going to go by 3-1. I think we're going to score, but I think a performance is more necessary than a result on Saturday. If we can go there and play well for a large portion of the game, then I think we're going to be okay. But that does draw another episode of the Stacey West Preview Show to a conclusion. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As I said at the top of the show, if you wouldn't mind giving us a like, a comment, and a subscribe, that would be massively appreciated on our road to 1,000 subscribers. But until the West End Imps show on Sunday, we will see you next time. Up the Imps.